doggone it, man. Yeah, quite a few heifers out there, black ones, black heifers. I guess the black ones are heifers. I don't know. I know about as much about heifers as I do about turnpikes. Yeah, okay, so here we go. Here's a little story for you. So last night, after my empty had been canceled from Amazon in South Dallas there, near Lancaster, and I was bobtailing, of course, jaunted over to the TA, to go just kind of, park for a bit and hang out till till the boss, because he was looking for other, anything else I could do. And so I was sitting there hanging out and ended up having to park out on the street. One of the security guys came in, because the place was packed and there was just no place to park. So I kind of parked in front of one of these like big tanks that they got out there for propane or something. And he walks over, you can't park here, but all right, whatever. You park out on the street. All right, I'll park on the street. So I parked on the street. So I'm just sitting there in the driver's seat, just, killing time, doing nothing, basically. And I see this girl walking, kind of like across the street, up ahead of me, to my 10, 11 o'clock. And she's walking across the street towards my truck, and, I guess she could see me sitting in it. And she was actually had a really nice looking body and stuff, and she was wearing a cap over her head, and, like had no hair kind of thing, like one of those caps that you wear when you have no hair, so I was like, oh man, that's too bad, maybe she's going through chemo or something. And she comes walking over, and as she approached, I could see that she was spun cookie, quite a bit spun cookie, and starts just yammering on to me, and like almost right off the bat, she's like, "Can I head out with you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'm just sitting here right now." So she's like, "Oh," and she like puts her hand on her face and like just pushes her face around, like in a frustrated kind of way, pushing her face around, and just like, geez, what was she saying? I was like, well, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I can't take you someplace I ain't going, Oh, well, you want to just take a break with me? And I was like, well, isn't that kind of what we're doing right now? And she's like, starts pushing her face around some more, right? And then she whips the hat off, like it was like a beanie kind of cap. Whips the hat off, and she did have hair. It was just cut super short. She almost had like a Sinead O'Connor kind of thing going on. And here, do you want a hat? I'm like, no, I'm good, thank you. She's like still pushing her face around, just like pushing her face around. I don't know how else to describe it, And I was like, so what's going on with you? Just trying to get out of here. And I'm like, so where are you from? She says, California. And her mouth just gapes open, like in absolute like amazement. And I was like, oh no, here we go. And she didn't go there, And I was like, so where are you from? Pushing her face around some more. Arkansas. I was like, oh, okay. So, well, that's too bad. If you'd no way. I was like, oh, here we go. Now she thinks I'm willing to give her a ride when I'm really not, you know. And then she's like, so I can't just get in with you and go with you? And I was like, I'm sorry, you know, I can't take you someplace I'm not going, and I'm not getting to Arkansas, you know. And she just does it again. Pushes her face and scratches her head and just turns around and walks off. And I'm like, okay, thank God she's leaving. You know. And well, that didn't last long, because she had seen this guy walking a dog back behind my truck, and she went and started talking to that guy, you know. And I'm like, okay, cool, she's off my hands. Well, lo and behold, she turns around and comes back, and it just stands there, right? At this point, I got my driver's side, my driver's door is open, and I'm kind of like facing outward, you know, like just having a smoke, right? You know, like facing outward, and you know, sitting in my seat still though. And she just comes over and she just stands there and says nothing, and just pushes her face around more with her hat off in her hand or in her purse, and starts digging around in her purse. She's like, oh, do you smoke? And I was like, she goes, oh yeah, you do. You want to have a smoke with me? And I'm like, no, I'm good, thanks, you know. She had like two. One was broken, you know. She pulled out. I'm like, no, I'm good, thanks. I just had one. Yeah. And then, oh geez, what was it? So I was just like, you know, I gotta say something to get her to go, man. Like, I can't just be sitting here talking to this spun cookie. Like, it's not, you know. And so I'm like, well, you know, I guess, you know, keep trying. You know, there's a lot of truckers here. I'm sure somebody's headed out to Arkansas. You know, how is it that you got, you know, that you're out here in the middle of the night in Dallas looking for a ride? She's all, oh, pushes her mouth to the side. I got put out. I was like, oh, okay, gotcha, right. Well, you know, I said, just, you know, keep trying, go, you know, talk to some more guys. I'm sure somebody can get you out there, you know. And she's just like, ah. And she walks off again, right, to go talk to some other guy who was walking a dog. And so I just shut the door, locked the doors, and pulled the curtains and hopped back in my sleeper and just hung out in the sleeper till she was gone for like 10 or 15 minutes. You know, and then I think at that point I finally got the message from the boss that, you know, he called me. He's like, yeah, I got it. You know, I'm probably gonna send you out to Oklahoma. So, so he's like, I'll send you an address. You know, if you don't hear back from me in 20-25 minutes, go ahead and head to Oklahoma. All right. So that's what I did. I just kind of hid out in my sleeper until the time was up and got rolling, man. It was just a funny thing, man. Like, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's some truckers out there who will go ahead and pick her ass up, but it ain't gonna be me, man. You know? You know, that's the thing. When you're a trucker, man, you can't have people, you know, who are, you know, gonna be on, you know, either drugs or alcohol. You can't be hanging out with people like that, you know, because you just can't. You know, it's like, you know, I mean, yeah, there's truckers who do drink, and drinking's legal, and, you know, nothing wrong with it as long as you're not, you know, inebriated while you're driving. But for, you know, 90% of truckers, you know, are, you know, sober, you know, like 100%. You know, don't mess around with nothing at all, because it's a serious business. You know, you can't do this job, you know, in that kind of condition, you know, and so meaning you can't be hanging out with people who are in that kind of condition. So, yeah, it's kind of funny. So anyway, there you go. That was an unintended. I wasn't intending on telling a story here when I pressed play on this video, but there you go. You got it. You got it anyway. So.